they're here. They can't interfere. It's over time that you begin to understand and trust them. I would see them talking to the other side, like one foot in each realm. Like their relatives were right there waiting for them. And they were having conversations, and people are not ready to hear the answer. I mean, my belief is that when we die, my name is Arthur. My YouTube channel is Arthur Ease Your Mind, and I'm an intuitive consultant and psychic advisor. And I tease everyone and just say I make it up and hope it happens. But in most cases, I've been doing this for quite some time. I mean, as a little kid, I used to walk up to people and tell them things. They were interested, but my father would just pick me up and take me out to the parking lot and say, "Stop doing that." So I thought that was my name for about 5 years. And then, Catholic school, told the nuns a few things. Next day, they're flicking holy water on me. So you put it away. But then I was working as a reporter in New York back in 1988. And I was working for a magazine, and I got a call from someone who worked with the magazine. Her name was Jean Dixon. At the time, she was a known psychic. And she wanted to meet with me to work on a children's advice column for New York Times Syndicate. She thought we'd collaborate well. So I went down to DC, met with her. The first thing out of her mouth was, "You have a twin sister like I do." I didn't tell anyone I had a twin. So she's a real deal. She looked at my hand and said, "Look at all the stars. Look at the stars in my hand. You know what that means?" I said, "Yeah." So after the meeting, we went to her townhouse, and she just said, "You're psychic, you know that. And I don't know if the calm's going to happen, but it was a good reason to meet you." And so the next 2 days we spent talking. She told me back in 1988 that eventually everything that I'd be doing would stop, and this is what I'd be doing. And that's basically what happened in 2001.
Do you ever receive insights about the future?
Everything but lottery numbers. That's a joke. Uh, yeah. I mean, well, a lot of times when I'll be looking at a situation, um, I'm not a tarot card reader per se. I mean, I understand cards, but I don't use them. I do use a little deck, sometimes a Lenormand deck. It's an oracle deck created by Mademoiselle Lenormand, who was the reader for Josephine and told Napoleon not to go to Waterloo. See what happens when you don't listen to your psychic? But I also scry, use a crystal ball. And all it is, it's just a focal point. It's not like I'm seeing Auntie M from The Wizard of Oz. It's just a focal point. And so when people ask me about what's coming up in front of them, I get a sense of what's there. Now, there are many things are fluid. Timelines can be fluid, but to me, a lot of it is going to happen. It'll happen when it's supposed to. And my clients, I've been doing this since 2001, so my clients say they're pretty happy with me. So it's not me though, it's the guides.
Do you think everyone has intuitive and psychic abilities?
Yeah, just like anyone can play piano, play chopsticks. Are you going to be Vladimir Horowitz in Carnegie Hall? Probably not. But everyone has psychic ability, and it can be worked on. And in fact, I do have on my YouTube channel a guided meditation called Awaken Intuition. And there are many books out there that I recommend, one of them being Your Psychic by Pete Sanders, because he was a scientist at MIT. So he approached it very clinically. It's not a storybook. And it's basically exercises. And everybody gets caught up in clair this, clair that. Clair, the word clair in French means clear. Voyance is vision. So clairvoyance is clear vision. That's all it means. And people get caught up in all this. We have all of them. I tease people and say, there's a ninth clair. It's called eclair, and I want one now. It's a joke. But I'm a diabetic, so I can't have them. But what I'm saying is we all have them, and we can train them. It's like little kids in schools. They have their imaginary friends. They see the fairies, they see the globes, they see everything, the orbs. And then as time goes on, we train children not to use it. you know. But what I find fascinating is this new children that are being born now. I've had more than one client tell me that like their 10-year-old, 11-year-old are asking them things they should not even know about. And one of them was his son was telling and explaining D-Day to him as if he was there. I'm like, he was. Like he reincarnated, but he also has part of that memory. And I'm finding more and more that this new shift of people being born, they're remembering bits and pieces of their last life because it's going to help with this shift that we're going through to get us moving forward again. So yeah, everyone's psychic. I mean, you can tell like anyone can walk into a room and just sit there and go, there was just an argument in here. You can feel it.
What exactly are spirit guides and how can someone connect with them?
One of the easiest ways, okay, first of all, everybody says, the guides, the angels, the spirits. Um, it's kind of like, we have that inner voice. Everyone has an inner voice. And sometimes as an empath or light worker, psychic, people pick up other people's stuff all the time as far as energy being tossed. So I always suggest people wearing copper. I think it's like here's a light bulb, here's a moth, here's an empath, here's energy. And sometimes the empath will pick it up too deep and it becomes part of them. And it's like, is this my stuff? Is that their stuff? So with copper in the body, it's like, let's say this is a copper bracelet. Energy goes to the copper. So it gets grounded. And the good thing about that is then you're shielded. And then all of a sudden that chatter in your head starts to dissipate. That expression, it's nice to hear yourself think for a change. And as the silence takes over, then we start to hear that inner voice more. And the inner voice are the guides, the angels, whatever you want to call them. That's our inner voice. That's our connection. Now, many people ask me, what are the names of my guides? Guides really don't. Some people get, they'll tell them the names. Mine just said, whatever you want to call us. So I just call them Manny, Mo, and Jack, named after the Pet Boys. And they laugh. And but it's over time that you begin to understand and trust them, and they trust you. And they're not going to give you anything that you can't understand. Or sometimes when I'm doing a reading with someone will ask a question, and it's just because you asked the question doesn't mean you're going to get the answer. Because in many cases, people are not ready to hear the answer. Or if they hear the answer, they'll think it's one thing and mess everything up. So it doesn't happen. So a lot of times, I'll just have to, I'm not picking anything up because it's my responsibility to not edit, but to give exactly what I'm getting. And the other thing is like with mediumship, it's a sense of many times people ask to talk to a specific person, but that person may not come through, but somebody else does. Who's ever around and wants to come forward. Um, I did have a funny experience the last 2 weeks where I was doing a show with members on YouTube, and a woman asked, what does my sister have to tell me? What does she want to say to me? I just started laughing. She says you're adopted. And she wrote, LOL, that I'm the eighth of 8 children. I'm the last one. That's what they always told me. So in other words, her sister was teasing her from the other side. So that was fun. But it's not that I'm hearing her voice as she was in the earthly plane, but it's a sense of who it is. You just know.
Do you think our thoughts and emotions can influence global events?
I mean, if you look at it, the planet is going through a lot of change, hurricanes, volcanoes, earthquakes. And if you also notice, there's a lot more greed right now in the world. And I feel it's a reflection of what's going on. Now, if we can tone that down, things will get toned down. But I mean, it's just like prayer. Like there are people that are suffering something, the prayer group gets together, they pray, and the person starts healing. To me, it's all a form of vibration and frequency. The prayer is a frequency. And the thing about prayer and even affirmations that to change what's around you is you put it out there that it's already there. It's the law of assumption. If you study like Neville Goddard, you know, you become the wish fulfilled. It's already here. But in order for that to do that, you have to have the right frequency, and that's how we can change our outcomes. And I do, I mean, I did a show the other night when I just said to everybody, look, before you go to bed at night, say thank you. Not for what's coming, what you have, but what's coming in. And we don't know what it is that's coming in because we're finite creatures. The galaxy is, or cosmos is infinite. So just be accepting of what's coming in and be grateful. And that's where it begins. It's not necessarily the word thank you, the words thank you. It's the energy and the feeling behind the words. That's what makes it work. And so we all do it, you know. And so, I mean, I tell everyone just, you know, to put out there that we live in a world with compassion, with empathy, with grace. You know, that's how I approach it. So
What do you think happens when we die?
it's a party. It's like, I mean, I was raised Catholic, so, you know, I have a lot of that drilled into me, certain things. But what I've seen during this work is I I did volunteer work at a hospice for back in the 90s, and I saw a lot of people cross. I would see them talking to the other side, like one foot in each realm, like their relatives were right there waiting for them, and they were having conversations. And then when like a daughter or son would tell the mother, "It's okay if you want to go home now," and they'd smile. They'd come out for that second when they're in a coma or whatever. They just come out, smile, and then they just glide away. It's a beautiful thing. I mean, I've also picked up where somebody's been in an accident. They're like, "What happened? Where am I? What am I doing here?" That's that, you know, then they realize where they're at. But when we die, I mean, my belief is that when we die, we cross, and families, whatever you want to call it, our spirit family is around us. But I also look at it this way. You know the expression, all the world's a stage. We're all here playing a script. So that our spirit, because we're all spirit in human form. Spirit can only feel one emotion, love, pure love. So spirit comes down to this realm or other realms in human form is to learn emotion. So a lot of it is pre-planned. It's what we signed up for, and also those around us. So that when we cross, like I've had clients say to me, I never want to meet my mother when I cross over. She was a horrible person, blah, 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 blah. And so was my father, blah, 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 blah. And what I say to them is, do you ever see a movie where the actors all hate each other? But then when the movie's wrapped, you see them at the wrap party. Where they're all having fun. They played the roles. That's what this lifetime is. I mean, that's at least my interpretation of it.
What is your view on extraterrestrial life forms?
Well, I think there's some people on this earth that the mothership left behind. Just kidding. I believe it. I've had experience. In Northern California, on the Oregon coast, there's Mount Shasta. And I spent some time up there, several summers, doing retreats with groups. And I mean, the very first time I was up there, I was meditating in the mountain, and this woman came along, and we were talking. She looked a little odd, but whatever. Had a good conversation, talking about the weather, talking about Mount Shasta, talking about where I came from, where she was. She didn't go into too much of her background. But then about after 20 minutes, I'm thinking, or realizing, we're not talking. It's all telepathy. And as soon as I realized that, she kind of like disappeared. It's like my belief is that when we operate as ETs are here at a different frequency, so we don't see them. But when we raise our vibration and frequency, then we're aligned with them, we can see them. Or they lower their vibration to come see us. And another time, there was a group of 5 of us in a town called McLeod outside of Mount Shasta. And above us, we're just like walking, and there was I guess you call it a craft hovering over us. It looked like a big Dorito and triangular thing. And everybody's like, we didn't feel scared or anything like that. And as a group, we like moved to one side, and it flew over it. Then we moved to the other side. It flew over. So to me, that was confirmation that we had contact. And it lasted for about 20 minutes, and then it left. So I do believe they're here. They can't interfere. I'm not going to say it's like Star Trek, but it's also not like the day the Earth stood still, where they're watching over us, and if we do something, Gort is going to come and grab us. But also, I do feel that we cannot do anything to damage the planet with nuclear. They will stop that. At least that's my belief. And from what I kind of gathered in conversations or meditations with them.
Are we going through a spiritual awakening as a planet?
Yes, I do. I actually do. I feel there is a shift. And the weather patterns, everything is part of it in some ways. But also, when I knew the shift was, you could feel it. And then after the eclipse in April 8th, it was 2024, that's when I really still started feeling it. And a lot of other people really started feeling it. It was like, if you're a light worker, psychic, empath, whatever, most people were getting very tired in the day. Like, just, I'm exhausted. Or they were getting ringing in their ear, which to me was information was being downloaded to help us get through this shift. And the kids being born now are all star seeds, all like little light workers, and they're like almost, I don't want to say different species, but they're at a different frequency, and they're here to teach us. And I really feel, okay, call me Pollyanna. Yes, we're going through a dark period right now, but we come out of it.
What is the most important lesson you have learned from doing this work?
That I'm not going to get my lotto numbers. Just kidding. You can cut that if you want. No, the most important thing is that we're all in this together. We're all connected in one way or another. And if something happens to someone, there has to be empathy. You can't, humility, being human, and knowing that we're all in this together, and it's we're not alone. There's a spirit world, so none of us are ever alone. I mean, people say, how do I get in touch with my guides? I'm like, well, just sit still and be quiet, and it may come as simple like you'll hear a song or something, and listen to the lyrics. What's the lesson there? Things like that. But the most important thing is that we're all in this together. None of us are alone.
If someone wanted to strengthen their inner guidance, what would be the first step you would recommend them to do?
First, I would say get some copper, a copper bracelet. When I would spend some time in Tokyo, I was wearing copper socks, so that when energy is being tossed from other people, you're shielded. And that way it gets you in touch with your guides when you hear yourself think. And then sit, and like I said, there's lots of good books out there, but the best is just sit in silence. To really be grounded with the earth. one of the best techniques, and it's great if it's in nature, is you're sitting there, put your hand over your heart, you feel your heart beating, you feel it, but then you hear it. And you close your eyes, start breathing, and then listen to what's around you in a 5 feet radius. It might be a cricket, it might be a hummingbird, but just focus on those 5 feet, nothing more. And once you're comfortable with that, another 5 feet. You're comfortable with that, another, like a ripple goes out. I'm not going to say you're going to end up like Batman on top of a steeple unless you want to live in the city. But what I mean here is this is the best exercise to get yourself grounded. And then it helps connect you. Once you're grounded and connected, then the work begins.
What gives you hope for humanity?
You know, from what I've seen, I mean, I tell everybody, look, the whole world seems like we're going through something. It's going to pass. It's like a kidney stone, but it's going to pass. And I just have faith in mankind. And what my guys always told me in years, like within 5, 6 years, words like compassion, empathy, grace, those are back in play. They're not dirty words.
How can people find more about you?
Yeah, I'm on YouTube at Arthur Ease Your Mind on YouTube. I also have a website, arthureaseyourmind.com. I'm located out of Los Angeles, California. And if anybody wants a reading, I've got openings. It's all through the computer, and it's through your time zone. So that's if anyone wants to get a hold of me, they can do that. Or I tease all my friends. I have a sandwich board that I wear. We'll read for food. I haven't worn it in a while though.